I still don't see Michelle Wright logged in yet from Property Standards. Do we want to start the meeting without her?
I think she just joined.
Okay. Yeah, I see her there now. Okay. All right, we'll get underway. I'm Chris Ripley. I'm the chair of the Property Standards meeting. We'll get our November 18th, 2021 meeting going. Just before we start, we always do a disclosure of any pecuniary interest of any of the members present. Nope. Take that as a no. Today we are hearing of an appeal for file PS 1/21, 175 Mara Street West. The owner is Puneet Gupta. This has gone back a few times if you've researched the material of a violation and an order, and now the subsequent appeal by the owner. Those wishing to support the appeal, we will now hear from anybody present on behalf of the owner.
Just for the chair's information, I understand that the owner had submitted something, I believe earlier today, saying that they were not going to be available to attend the meeting. And so as a result, we shared that information as well with our property standards officer, and maybe we'd want to receive comments from her first.
Okay, all right. Michelle, are you online there? Do you want to take over?
I am. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. One thing I just wanted to address is the fact that this ceiling issue has been an issue for almost a year now. It first came to my attention mid-December of 2020, and an order was sent last January, or this January 2nd of 2021, to have the ceiling repaired in the kitchen, and it wasn't done. The ceiling then started getting worse around the time I sent the second order. I just sent a new order to have the ceiling repaired and added plumbing, because plumbing was not in the original order. So this has been an ongoing issue. Puneet is not, as far as I'm aware, the owner of the property. He's the owner's son. I've never dealt with the owner of the property or talked to him. I've always dealt with Puneet. In the original order, he had asked for extensions. There was issues with 3 of the doors that had to be replaced, and tons of garbage and refuse on the property. And he did some of the work. I gave a June 1st deadline for a lot of it, which is a lot longer of an extension than I normally give. And I still ended up having to hire a contractor. And since then, I've sent other orders out for other garbage and had hired contractors for that, as orders were not complied with then either. So I haven't had really any compliance from this property owner in the last 11 months that I've been dealing with the property.
Okay, Glenn, you care to comment?
You're on mute, Glenn.
Need to unmute yourself.
Sorry, guys. Through the chaired officer, right? I take it from your comments that there's just simply been no compliance. There's been a lot of talk, but there's also been a lot of stalling. Is it safe to assume that this is a rental property, that they're not owner occupied?
Correct.
Okay. And are there other deficiencies if you were to go back there and do another review from a property standards perspective? Have you covered off pretty much what you think is everything that is wrong with the property with your orders so far?
There would be more actually to add to a new order, to be honest.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Robert?
Yes, through the chair to Michelle. So it is a rental property, but is it currently tenanted? And is it the same tenant that's had to put up with this all year, or has that changed over?
So there was tenants upstairs. They left end of March. They couldn't deal with it anymore as they had tons of issues. There was rats that I ended up sending an order for as well. That wasn't getting addressed. The tenants downstairs where the ceilings having the issues have been the same tenants, but I have had to deal with the frustration on their end with nothing being done. So I haven't had the nicest emails from them, and I completely understand. And you know, with the second order and it going to the property standards committee because he appealed it, I told the tenants I couldn't do anything until a decision was made, unfortunately. So
So you kind of answered one of my questions that I was going to have as a follow-up. Is there a unit above this? What is the source of this water damage? Is it tenants that are causing the damage, or is it a leaky roof? Is it pipes? Like, what's causing this?
So in the beginning, I guess a year ago, it was due to a plumbing issue.
Yeah.
Eventually that got corrected. The most recent one was, I guess the tenants had put in an air conditioner and they didn't, they put the drainage hose down the heat exhaust in the floor, which then obviously went down and caused the ceiling to have damage to it. But Punet didn't really seem to, he was putting it on the tenants below kind of to deal with it, and was threatening them eviction if they didn't tell me everything was fine. So
Well, that's not damage that's caused by them. That's arguably by the people above. But
yeah,
you know, this person should have responded at least in trying to and act on the deficiencies that were happening, the damage that's being, like, I can sympathize when someone's tenant is causing the damage.
Yeah.
But still, why drag this out for 10 months and not act on it and get on it right away? Like, I really feel for the person looking at this photo that they have to live like that daily. And then
Yeah.
what is happening behind there, that could be mold issues that are really starting to expand.
yeah.
Brian, I think you wanted to ask a question, or maybe it's been answered.
You hired a contractor to do the work. Has all the work that was required under the order completed by the contractor?
So everything was done minus the ceiling.
Okay, so he's appealing because he doesn't want to fix the ceiling, or didn't, that's his reason for his appeal? Or is it because he doesn't want to pay the bill that he's going to be confronted with because the contractors did it?
To be honest, I don't know why he appealed it. I have not heard from Punet in months.
Okay.
Councillor Sanderson?
Thank you, through the chair. So similar question to what Brian touched on there. So my first question was going to be, what's the nature of the appeal? Michelle, and I guess the answer is we don't know. So how do we accept an appeal if there's no substance to the appeal?
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is he's buying time. I honestly, I don't know.
Okay, so I guess my second question is, what options are available to this committee?
So options as in like what we can do?
Sure.
So I believe there's the 3 options. So you guys can rescind the order, you can uphold the order, or you can grant an extension of the order.
Okay, so my view is to uphold the order, but I'm wondering if there are other actions we can take, like to the far right, to the extreme, like can we condemn the building? Can we order them to vacate the building until such time as he addresses the issues? Like
Yeah, but
that's
you're now,
kinda
you're
what I-
displacing, but you're displacing the tenants, not really the landlord so much other than income, right?
Well, if you believe that the building is unsafe and that we've got to issue a work order to get it repaired, it's not safe for them to be there.
But the ceiling's not collapsing. So if there was immediate threat to life or limb, you'd say, we could put an emergency order on it. There's not a threat to life and safety at this time with where the damage is at the present moment.
Okay, and what was the last time you were through there, Michelle? This will be my last question.
I'd have to check my record. It would have been just after the order was sent, I believe in September. However, I've been in contact with the tenant on pretty much a weekly basis, getting updated photos and making sure everything's okay, if there's been more damage or if it's stayed about the same.
Okay. Thank you.
Today, okay.
I think that because this person hasn't contacted you, he's never sent a letter or anything today to support it, even though he couldn't be here, then I don't think we have a whole lot of choices in what to do with this. But
Through the chair, there was an email sent today, and I have been able to pull it up. If you'd like, I could give you just a rundown of the contents of it.
Please do, yeah.
All right, so what we received today said, I have received your letter informing us of the upcoming meeting. Due to a family emergency, I had to travel overseas. I attached proof of travel. As a result of this travel, I was not able to, 1, submit written comments, or 2, register to participate in the committee hearing. I will attempt to attend the call at the stated time, but the internet connection can be a limiting factor. I will attempt to submit comments in a separate email so that my comments can be made available to the committee members in case of technical difficulty. And we've received no subsequent email from them.
Okay,
So
so
Well,
sorry.
the committee can take that into account, I guess. I guess from my seat, we've been down this road before with similar property standards, and he had the ability on the 5th of October to send the appeal. He could have sent someone in his place, but anyhow, I think Susan wanted to comment earlier. Maybe that was her point. I don't know. Susan?
My point is that we've given this guy enough rope and he hasn't done anything with it, right? The state of rental properties in the city and the ownership by out-of-towners who don't give a rats drives me to conclude that we should deny any appeal and make them follow the orders forthwith. So I motion.
I agree with you on that, yeah.
It's ridiculous. Come on, let's make this guy do his thing.
Glenn?
I support that.
Through the chair,
Thanks.
just before we close the public meeting and then come to the committee discussion, I just have one
Yes.
more question for Officer Wright. Just to clarify, Officer Wright, did you state that the current tenants on the main floor were threatened with eviction by this person if they did not lie and say that everything was okay? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Okay, just wanted to make sure the entire committee heard that too. Thank you.
And he has, by the way, he has no grounds to evict them whatsoever.
It's,
Just,
Yeah.
it goes to character. It goes to character.
yes.
Yeah, so I made, because obviously the tenants were really worried that they're then going to be evicted. I made them aware that the only way they could, under a property standards order, is if the renovations couldn't be completed with somebody residing in the home at the time. I said an area of a kitchen being quarantined off so work can be completed does not, it's not reasonable to remove tenants for that, so I wouldn't see that happening. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that the owners, and it's not the first time I've heard owners threaten that, so
Mm.
it's sad that they go that route, but
They
Okay.
may be, the owner may be on the hook to cover their living expenses while the renovations are being done.
yeah.
Yeah, so normally we would close out the public portion of the meeting and make our decision. There's really no public present, so. Glenn?
Yeah, so if we're going to transition over, and again, I think I'd like to address this through the chair to Councillors Sanderson and Feeney, because I believe it's more of a bylaw thing. And that is, if it's only, I'm questioning, because we've seen this a few times at this committee. I'm questioning if $100 to appeal is enough. And I'm questioning why there aren't more teeth in our bylaw to force people to be here, because we've, in the term of this committee, we've been here a few times where people just have not shown up and they've used this as a stall tactic. At the same time, I want to balance this because I understand that landlords are sometimes faced with difficult tenants. We want to make it fair for everybody. And when it comes to property standards, I think it's important that we have some teeth to it. So I don't know if that means revisiting the bylaw or taking a message back to council that $100 to appeal this is just being used as a stall tactic. I don't know if there's any way to modify the bylaw to force people to be here, and if they're not here, it's automatically rejected with no hope of appeal. Again, I don't know what we might be able to do, but I can sense the frustration on some of the other people here on the committee when we're dealing with somebody who clearly it does not care and is not interested in trying to improve this for the tenant, and is not interested in the state of the property, in terms of how it is in the city of Belleville. So those are just my thoughts. And Councillor Sanderson and Feeney, if you want to take that back to council, or if there's any other suggestions you have, I'd be really happy to hear them.
Robert?
Yeah,
Tom?
if we're going to open the discussion on that aspect, I don't think I'm in favor of raising the fee that you have to pay, like whether it's $100 or $300.
Point of order, Mr. Chair, we're way off topic.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think we can force them to be here. It's just in their best interest to be here. So if they're not here, they know the consequences that could happen
Right.
when they don't attend or don't at least be in touch with the officer. So
Yeah, let's deal with the decision. We can deal with the other stuff at a later point in time. Now, Carol, you want to comment?
No, I just want to second Susan's motion.
Okay, would you repeat that, Susan, just to make sure
Oh,
we?
it happened so long ago, I can't remember. No, I move that we deny any appeal, that we enforce the existing order, and no more chances.
All in favor? Take that as carried.
And that was a good idea, Glenn.
I don't think it would have the teeth you think it would have, though. I don't think that that's the answer.
No.
I think if we can just have a general discussion now, even though that's done.
Well,
I think
okay, we'll,
some
we need to confirm our minutes from our meeting of
Okay.
December 17th, 2020. So
Yeah, no problem.
Brian
moved.
Seconded by Robert. All right, very good. We have, I guess, a few minutes to chat, if that's what you want to chat about before Committee of Adjustment.
So if we were to do something that had some teeth, I think I'd be more in favor that if they don't show up, that we can have some sort of added fine added to it. Like when you appeal a ticket at the, at the court office, it ends up costing you a lot more than had you paid it up front. I think the application fee being $100 or $300 or whatever, I don't know that it would have more teeth, but I think if, okay, now you've really pushed this and we have the ability to add a fine on top of, then I think that would be a better way to go rather than raising the application fee.
I've been around this block several times, and in most of these appeals over the 20 odd years that I've been involved in this, most of these appeals are just time. They want to kill time. They know they're going to have to do it, and they just want to stretch it out as long as they can. And at the end, 99 times out of 100, they end up losing anyway. So
Mhm. I'm curious.
Now,
how it stretched
sorry.
out so long. Sorry, who's that?
Sorry, it's Michelle.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering, would you guys be interested if I reached out to some other municipality and asked their officers how much their appeal is? And see what other municipalities charge for appeals?
Wouldn't hurt, I don't think,
Okay,
just as an information item.
yeah,
Or just other ideas, right? What's best in class?
Yeah.
okay.
Property standards bylaws to get these people to deal with people in a humane way. That's what's crux of it.
Can I ask Michelle, what was the reason to give him so long? Like, I know you said you normally gave him till June, which is a lot longer than you normally would. Like, is there a reason that,
Originally, because when I originally went there and sent the order, all the garbage, there was no snow, there was no ice. And then by the compliance time frame, everything was under snow and ice.
okay,
So then he started removing the garbage as he could. So I spoke with management on it, and we were giving him the opportunity to work with him and get everything completed, because he was also using the same excuse then about his father being overseas and family emergency and this, that, and the other. And at that point, I didn't know who he was, and I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, and we were trying to work with him.
you said his father is overseas and his father is the owner?
Correct.
Interesting.
And you've been dealing with the son though, through all this. Never.
Yeah, I've never heard from the owner.
That's not.
Are you allowed to do that?
Yeah, so they can have somebody, if somebody else wants to represent them,
Okay.
then we can deal with them.
I just hope things work out for the tenants that are there. I feel bad for them.
Mhm.
They're the ones that always suffer.
Yeah.
Seems. Yeah.
Oh, I just noticed we're still recording. I thought we were done.
I don't think the meeting's been adjourned.
No, it
Oh.
hasn't been adjourned.
Oh, here we are just having a general discussion.
Okay. We
Well,
better
we've-
have a mover for adjournment.
I so move.
Glenn, thank you, Carol. Councillor Feeney, yeah.